When my campus heartthrob roommate accidentally opened my bridal cosplay delivery, my heart skipped a beat. I hurriedly lied, saying it was a gift for my sister. But to my horror, he bent down and pulled out more things from under my bed. JK uniform, stockings, cat ears, a bell. With a smirk, he asked, "And these? Are they also for your dear sister?" My face instantly turned pale. Without thinking, I stumbled a step back, knocking over the chair behind me. The loud, screeching noise echoed through the room, drawing even more unwanted attention to me. Don't look anymore," I stammered, my voice shaky. "Those things are for my sister, too. I just haven't given them to her yet." Lucas Alaric, usually the picture of cold indifference, was anything but. The moment he saw how flustered I was, his expression shifted into something sharp, relentless. In his hand, he still held one of my white stockings. With his long strides, he closed the distance between us. He tilted his head, his lips curving into a mocking smile. "Funny, these feel worn to me. What, do you give your sister used clothes as gifts?" My breath caught. His face, already infamous across campus as the one kissed by God himself, was suddenly much too close, his teasing grin making my ears burn. I flushed crimson, snatching the stocking from his hand with forced calm. "That's impossible. They're brand new. You must be seeing things." Lucas leaned back slightly, his tongue pressing against the inside of his cheek as his eyes roamed over me with playful suspicion. "Well, fine. I'll believe you. For now." At his words, my tense shoulders eased just a little. Relief began to trickle in. "Thank you. Don't worry. I'll get rid of all this stuff right away." But then his hand landed firmly on my shoulder. He leaned in close, his lips brushing my ear as he whispered, his voice laced with something dangerously intoxicating. "It's okay, even if these were for you to wear. I wouldn't hate you for it." His warm breath caressed my ear, sending a jolt straight down my spine. I froze, my whole body stiffening. With a sharp intake of air, I staggered back several steps, glaring at him in accusation. "Don't do that. My ears are really sensitive." Lucas only chuckled softly, eyes glinting. "Got it, little rabbit. I was just teasing. Don't take it so seriously." I clenched my fists, my heart hammering. Lucas Alaric was absolutely infuriating. Our dorm was meant for 4 people, but not long after the semester started, the other 2 roommates found girlfriends and moved out one after the other. They rarely came back, which meant it was usually just Lucas Alaric and me. Lucas wasn't only good-looking, he was also brilliant. Even when he didn't have classes, he was the type to spend hours in the library, rain or shine. I had his schedule memorized by heart, just so I could unleash my true self when I knew he wouldn't be around. After all, cross-dressing wasn't something you did just once. It was something you fell into again and again. I adored those beautiful dresses. To soften the harsh edges of my masculine features, I had even learned how to do makeup and collected wigs of all styles and colors. So the moment Lucas left with his textbooks in hand, I darted to my bed, pulled out the pure white bridal dress I'd been yearning to try, and held it against me. Layers of delicate lace unfolded in my hands, and my face burned with excitement. My heart beat faster and faster. But just as I was fully dressed, adjusting the skirt in front of the mirror, I heard the sound of a key turning in the lock. Panic shot through me. I rushed toward the door, desperate to lock it, but it was too late. With a creak, the door opened, and I shattered inside. "Ryan?" Lucas froze in the doorway. Then, with one quick motion, he shut the door behind him and stepped inside, his eyes never leaving me. I stood there like a statue, head bowed, avoiding the burning intensity of his gaze. Don't look at me. Please, just turn around." What would he think of me now? That teasing comment he'd once made. Did it mean anything at all? Or would he see me as some kind of freak? A pervert who liked to wear dresses? The thought made my chest tighten. Memories of being mocked and ridiculed by classmates in the past rushed in like a flood. The weight of sadness and despair pressed down on me until I could hardly breathe. But then, "I'm sorry, Ryan. Don't cry. You look beautiful. There's nothing strange about this at all." Lucas's voice was warm, steady, anchoring me when I was about to drown. Wait, was I crying? I touched my cheek instinctively. My fingertips came away wet. Tears were already streaming down, splashing against the pale floor tiles. Clutching the hem of my dress, I looked up at him through tear-blurred eyes. "Do you really mean that?" "I do." Lucas lifted his hand and gently brushed the tears from my face. In his eyes, I saw something bright, like sunlight I hadn't felt in years. Without thinking, I leaned closer, seeking that warmth. "Then, promise me." You'll keep this secret from me, please?" My voice trembled, heavy with desperation. "Of course." His tone was unwavering. And then, without hesitation, he opened his arms and pulled me into his embrace. At the time, I didn't realize that behind his steady promise, there was something else lurking. As his gaze lingered on my pale, vulnerable neck, there was a hunger there, a dark desire. He wanted to claim me, to squeeze that fragile softness, to steal every breath from my lips. But I was blind. A lamb offering its throat, stepping willingly into the sweet trap Lucas had prepared for me. For now I only felt relief. His words had soothed me. His warmth had calmed me. Slowly, my tension eased. Only when I noticed the dampness under my cheek did I realize I had soaked through his white shirt with my tears. Embarrassed, I wriggled out of his arms, and to break the heavy mood, my mouth blurted out the first thing it could think of. "Lucas, your chest muscles are really well trained." Especially when I leaned against him, solid and firm, the kind of body I could only envy. The words left my lips before I could stop them. And the moment I heard myself, I froze in horror. What on earth did I just say? Before my brain could betray me any further, I bolted straight into the bathroom. Because if I ran fast enough, maybe, just maybe, the embarrassment wouldn't catch me. I didn't see it then. The way Lucas was staring at me, his eyes shadowed, burning with something obsessive. After finally peeling myself out of that complicated dress and taking a long, refreshing shower, I felt completely renewed. That is, until a horrible realization hit me like a slap. I had forgotten to bring a change of clothes. My knees nearly buckled from despair. How can one person die of embarrassment twice in one day? No, 3 times. I ruffled my damp, short hair in frustration, staring at the bathroom walls as if they'd give me a solution. But eventually I sighed. Oh well, at this point, what's one more humiliation? I cracked the bathroom door just slightly, poking my head out, and called out with my most shameless grin, "Lucas, could you grab me a set of clothes?" He looked up from where he was leaning casually, and his lips quirked into a smile. "On it, you little scatterbrain." At that moment, sunlight spilled through the window like liquid gold, sketching every detail of Lucas Alaric's perfect profile, the curve of his lashes, the sharp line of his jaw. Even I was momentarily stunned. He noticed. Of course he did. His smile deepened, teasing. "What's wrong? Cat got your tongue?" My face heated instantly. I lowered my gaze, reaching out quickly to snatch the clothes from his hand. But the moment our hands touched, something strange happened. A tickle, light, playful, spread across my palm. Wait, was he scratching my hand? I froze, glaring at him with my best attempt at ferocity, cheeks still blazing red. "No thanks for you, humph." And before he could say another word, I slammed the bathroom door shut with a sharp thud. Outside, I could just imagine his smug grin. Leaning against the door, Lucas closed his eyes. The image of me, flushed, teary-eyed from earlier, fragile as if one more word might break me, burned fresh in his mind. His breath quickened. Without even realizing it, he inhaled deeply, his senses clinging to the faint scent lingering in the air, a soft, sweet fragrance. "Strawberries," he murmured to himself, a low laugh caught in his throat. "My little strawberry." I held out for a week. A whole week of pretending to be normal. But the truth was, I missed my dresses so badly I could barely stand it. Ever since Lucas caught me cross-dressing, something about him changed. He hardly even went to the library anymore. This lazy traitor. Where was his ironclad routine now? And with him always around, I couldn't exactly spread out my skirts or play with wigs under his nose. It was mortifying just thinking about it. So after much mental debate, I came to a conclusion. I'd move out. If I lived on my own, I wouldn't have to worry about anyone barging in. I could wear whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. Perfect plan. When I finally told Lucas about it, though, his expression instantly soured. "Why not stay here with me? Am I getting in your way?" Those dark eyes fixed on me unblinking, with just the faintest trace of hurt. The way he looked at me, you'd think I was abandoning him for good. As if my silly little hobby was more important than he was. I squirmed in my seat, fiddling with my fingers, avoiding his gaze. And no, it's not that. It's just I bought too many dresses and there's no space in the dorm. If I rent a place, it'll be easier. And well, I'll be able to wear them freely too. My voice trailed off to nothing. By the end, I sounded exactly like a girl being scolded by her parents. Lucas chuckled lowly, then leaned over and ruffled my hair. "Look at you. Squirming like that. You really do act like a girl sometimes. Relax. I'm not going to eat you." I gawked at him. Was that supposed to be comforting? Still, I couldn't deny he was ridiculously supportive. Always saying the right things, always softening the blow. Honestly, he could have been the poster child for perfect roommate of the year. Except, did he have to pat my head like I was some puppy? His hand pressed down again, and I felt my head growing heavier with each rub. But fine, since I was moving out anyway, I'd let him mess with me this once. I even dragged my chair closer, practically offering him a better angle to continue. His lips curved as he asked quietly, "You'll still come back to visit me, won't you, little traitor?" The way he said it, half joking, half not, made my chest tighten. I put on my brightest grin. "Don't worry, I'll come back more often than the other two ever did. No comparison. In fact, let's say once a week. How's that?" In the back of my mind, I couldn't help but think of foolish kings in old stories, dazzled by beauty, making promises they couldn't keep. And then, out of nowhere, an image flashed. Lucas, in a dress. Wouldn't he look devastating? "Deal," he said at last, and for once he looked so openly happy it startled me. His whole face lit up, like a giant dog wagging its tail after being thrown a bone. The thought cracked me up. I couldn't help the laugh that slipped out. Lucas tilted his head, brow furrowed. "What's so funny?" I waved my hand solemnly, fighting the grin. "Nothing, just, it's touching, seeing our campus heartthrob so reluctant to part with me." I said it with mock sincerity, but deep down I wondered, was I really the one who couldn't let go? Maybe the heavens just couldn't stand to see me happy. I had only moved into my new place for a week when an anonymous photo, blurred face and all, suddenly shattered my peaceful life. I opened the picture, zoomed in, and in an instant, the sky felt like it was falling on me. The person in the photo was wearing a wine-red dress, standing in front of a mirror, smiling radiantly, and that familiar dimple by the lips? No doubt about it. It was me. Oh my God, someone's stalking me. Worse, beneath the photo was a note. "My little darling," delivered right to me. I was furious, absolutely livid. Who had I offended so badly that they would do this to me? With shaking hands, I typed a reply. "Who are you? Stealing is a crime. I'll call the police and have you arrested." Almost instantly, a message popped back. "Just an admirer who loves seeing you in skirts." What the hell? I frowned, cautiously typing, "A girl?" The reply came right away. "Sorry. Male, interested in males." I was dumbstruck. Gay stalkers were this bold nowadays? I almost missed the old days when everything was hidden and secret. I quickly shot back. "Sorry, no chance. I like women." And just so he'd get the point, I carefully drafted a little lecture, telling him to find someone who actually liked him back. Love wasn't about forcing people like in those over-the-top novels. An old saying said it best, "A melon forced from the vine is never sweet." Why didn't people believe that? But before I could even finish typing my heartfelt warning, my phone started ringing. I picked up cautiously. "Hello, you are." I didn't even get to finish. His voice, distorted, mechanical, cut in with a playful, mocking tone. "Baby, you dress like a girl and still want to date women? What is it? Are you trying to be someone's sister instead?" The voice was fake, robotic, but the smugness behind it was unmistakable. I stabbed at my phone screen furiously, as though I could smash his words to pieces. "This has nothing to do with you. Besides, plenty of girls had slipped me love letters before. Clearly I wasn't unwanted." The voice came again, softer this time, almost coaxing. "How can it have nothing to do with me, baby? Others might not accept you, but I'm different. I love every side of you. Since you're not dating anyone, why not try with me?" Even through the mechanical distortion, I could hear the rise and fall of his emotions. I was stunned, but not convinced. "Hold on, big guy. You don't even dare show your face. What if you're hideous? Is this how you think you win someone over?" Love wasn't something you could win through threats. Even I, inexperienced as I was, knew that. On the other end, a chuckle slipped through. "I understand. Don't worry. I'll come see you. You just wait." Wait, what exactly did he understand? He wouldn't even use his real voice, and now he wanted to meet? But then a chill ran down my spine. That photo, it was the one I had taken 2 nights ago in my new place. Could it be my landlord? That short, pudgy man in his 40s with the gold chain? Did he put a hidden camera in my room? The thought made my skin crawl. I locked the door tight, even stuck a key in the keyhole for extra safety. Comforted by that, I tried to sleep. But sometime in the night, I woke to the sound of knocking. When no one answered, the knocking turned into loud, angry pounding. My mom always said I could sleep through a thunderstorm, yet this man's racket woke me up. That's how vicious it was. Rubbing my face awake, I tiptoed nervously to the door. I pressed my eye to the peephole and nearly screamed. On the other side, an eye was staring right back at me. I stumbled back in terror. He actually came? Shaking, I grabbed my phone and dialed his number. Then, summoning every ounce of courage I had, I peeked again. Sure enough, a man dressed head to toe in black was standing there, phone in hand. On his collar, a faint red light flickered. His voice changer. I forced my voice steady. This is how you come meet me? To scare me half to death? Keep this up and I really will call the police. But he just leaned casually against my door, completely unbothered. Go ahead. But before the cops arrive, I'll plaster your pretty dress photos all over your school. Everyone will know you're a cross-dressing freak. Let's see who dares get close to you then. Good news. It wasn't my landlord, judging by the height. Bad news. I had no clue who the hell it was. Despair tightened my chest. What do you want from me? All I'd done was have a harmless little hobby. Why did it have to attract a mad dog like this? Tomorrow, noon. Wait for your husband in the alley of Tongue Blossom Street outside your campus. His voice slithered through the phone, low and commanding. Through the peephole, I could feel his gaze drilling into me, as though he could pierce the glass and drag me out from the safety of my room. No way. I kicked the door hard from the inside, making my fury clear. But the man only chuckled on the other end, his eyes glinting like shadows beneath the yellow glow of the hallway lights. I'll be waiting. And trust me. His voice dropped to a growl. You don't want to know what happens if you resist me. With that, he turned and left, certain that I would bend. I pressed my forehead to the cold wood of the door, rage and fear colliding in my chest. If you're sick, get treatment. Just leave me alone, please. But he didn't respond. He didn't even flinch. The world suddenly felt like it had shrunk, and I was the only one bleeding in it. The next day arrived far too quickly. Against every instinct in my body, I found myself dragging my feet toward the campus gates. Right across from me was Tongue Blossom Alley. Twisting paths, lush greenery, white blossoms scattered like snow. It was supposed to be a lover's haven, the campus' most romantic spot. Yet for me, it felt like walking into a trap. My phone buzzed again. More stolen photos, me in skirts, stockings, ears, bells. My chest burned with shame and rage. I clenched my jaw. Fine. If he dares to push me past my limits, I'll show him just how terrifying an honest man can be. Head down, I stepped into the alley. And then, a hand shot out, seizing my wrist, yanking me into a narrow side path. Before I could react, I was crushed against a stranger's chest, my head forced under his chin, his jaw resting on my hair. A voice, husky and trembling with desire, whispered against the crown of my head. Wife, I missed you so much. In the dim, secluded corner, my cheek pressed against his pounding chest. His heartbeat was wild, desperate. Below, his heated body pressed firmly into mine, unyielding, eager. Heat surged across my face, but my mind screamed in protest. Let me go. I'm not your wife. I shoved, I kicked, but his strength was overwhelming. My wrists were seized and forced above my head, my back pinned cruelly against the icy wall. Cold stone on one side, burning flesh on the other. My sanity stretched thin, like a string about to snap. Then came his mouth. His tongue was merciless, prying me open, invading every corner of me with mint-cool breath. He left a trail of possession on my tongue. My lips hit my throat. The longer it went, the weaker I became. Fear of being seen mixed with the dizzying intoxication of his kiss until my knees nearly buckled. Hot tears pricked at my eyes. Finally, when I was suffocating, he released my lips, only to claim my ears, my neck, leaving fire in his wake. Through the faint gap in his mask, I caught a glimpse of sharp brows, flushed lips. Familiar somehow. Too familiar. Driven by a reckless hunch, I shifted my hands, pressing against his chest. The touch was so recognizable it made my breath hitch. Could it be? He noticed my closeness, pulling me tighter, kissing harder. His kisses fell like searing brands, one after another. My heart thundered. If it really is who I think it is, then... Slowly, trembling, I slid my hands up his chest over his shoulders and wrapped them around his neck. Then, boldly, I kissed him back. His eyes widened, shock, then joy flashing through them, and I bit down. The metallic tang of blood filled my mouth. I was about to pull away when he caught my wrist and deepened the kiss, hungrier, rougher, until my body betrayed me, shivering with unwanted responses. The wall was cold, we were burning. Even through fabric, I felt every ounce of his desire. But then footsteps echoed down the alley. Laughter. Voices, lovers passing by. My body froze in dread. If someone sees, I shoved with everything I had, finally breaking free. I leaned against the wall, gasping for breath, staring at his bloodied lips. And he licked the blood away with a smile. Wife, you're fiery. I think I love you even more now. His gaze, deep, stormy, unrelenting, wrapped around me like chains. I can't wait until next time, my dear wife. And with that, he turned, swift and clean, leaving me trembling in the shadows. Yet this time, I didn't feel only anger, because deep down, that insane guess I had, it made my heart pound. So I called after him, almost against my will. I'll be waiting too. His steps faltered. Just for a second, he turned, met my eyes, then vanished into the corner. And I stood there, my lips still tingling, my chest a battlefield of fear and something else. After lunch at the cafeteria, I slipped into an empty corner with my phone, staring at the number I knew by heart. My thumb hesitated for a moment before I hit call. Hello? Ryan? What's wrong? Lucas Alaric's voice came through, gentle as always, calm and soothing like a mountain spring. I bit my lip, lowering my voice and even adding a hint of a sob. Lucas, I want to move back in. The memory of last night's terror, the pounding on the door, the shadow outside the peephole, rushed back, turning my 5 parts of grievance into 10. I can't do this, Lucas. Living alone is too scary. It's okay. If you want to come back, then come back. Honestly, Ryan, I'd be overjoyed if you did. His words, pure and steady, wrapped around me like a blanket. I pressed my ear, already hot against my shoulder. This guy really knew how to break the rules. Normally, I'd melt at his voice and start bawling like a fool. But not today. Today I was Ryan, son of steel, heart harder than diamond. You're at the dorm, right? I want to see you right now. I'm here. I'll wait. I ran all the way back, knocking on the door before my fist even cooled from the sprint. Lucas opened it almost immediately, as if he'd been standing right behind it. Stepping in, my eyes went straight to him, and I froze. He was wearing a mask. Lucas, why are you wearing that? He coughed lightly, voice scratchy. I caught a bit of a cold. Didn't want you to get sick, so I thought it'd be safer with a mask on. I frowned. His tone did sound a little hoarse. But come on, I wasn't that easy to fool. Wearing that thing all the time must be suffocating. Don't worry about me. I'm strong as an ox. Take it off. He shook his head firmly. No, it's better this way. I gave a slow nod, pretending to accept it, and sat across from him, unloading the horror stories of the past few nights. He listened carefully, expression shifting from sympathy to fury, and when I cursed the masked man, he joined in without hesitation. Honestly, the guy's mouth was poisonous when he wanted it to be, his insults sharper and filthier than mine. Finally, I asked, my hand clutching his sleeve, You agree he's in the wrong, right? Of course. That's harassment. Illegal, unacceptable. Lucas's tone was firm, righteous, and that was the moment I struck. With lightning speed, I yanked his mask off. Ryan. Lucas's eyes went wide. He tried, too late, to cover his mouth. But my eyes had already caught it. The wound. That broken skin on his lip. The exact spot where my teeth had left their mark. My heart plunged into icy water, lungs locked tight. Lucas looked at me, panic flashing in his eyes. Ryan, wait. Why, Lucas? My voice cracked as the question tore out of me. Why come to me this way? Was it because you were afraid I'd reject you? Afraid I'd hate you? I pointed at his mouth, trembling. Don't lie. That wound, I gave it to you. You're the one who sent me those messages. You're the one who came to my apartment, scaring me half to death. Tears blurred my vision before I realized they'd fallen. You knew I was timid, and still... Why would you do that to me? Lucas reached for me, his hand shaking. It's not like that, Ryan. Please, it's not like that. His voice quivered with fear and regret, but I turned my face away, dodging his touch. Then tell me, why? For a moment, he stood frozen. Then his hand dropped, and a bitter smile curved his lips. Because I like you. But you're straight. I was terrified you'd hate me, distance yourself, leave me. I just wanted you to stay by my side. I thought if I scared you, you'd come back to me. His eyes clouded with shame. But last night, I lost control. I went too far. I never wanted to hurt you, Ryan. I'm so sorry. I really am. My face burned, heart thundering. Wait, what? Lucas Alaric, the golden boy, the campus heartthrob, likes me? It was surreal. After all, when he'd first enrolled, the entire department had voted him school prince overnight. Meanwhile, I, too soft, too polite, hadn't even cracked the top 10. Why would he ever look at me that way? And yet, since day one, Lucas had always looked out for me. Compared to our other roommates, he treated me like I actually mattered. Maybe Maybe this had been in his heart from the start. Seeing him now, shoulders slumped, lips trembling, utterly helpless, I should have been furious. I was the victim here. The heavy bags under my eyes were proof of how he'd terrorized me. But damn it, I couldn't stay mad. Not when his eyes were that full of guilt and longing. Maybe I was too soft. Maybe he just liked me too much. And really, what crime was that? Still, that didn't mean he was getting off easy. You made me live in fear for days, I said, wiping at my eyes. And you think one little sorry is enough? At that, his head snapped up, hope sparking in his gaze. He looked at me the way a giant puppy looks at its favorite person. Bright, eager, desperate to please. Ryan, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. Anything, as long as you're not angry with me. That gaze seared me, and I had to turn away, muttering, then figure it out yourself. Tonight, show me your sincerity. Inside, a sly grin tugged at me. You scared me to tears, Lucas Alaric. Tonight, it's my turn to make you suffer. Oh, I was already picturing it. Me nitpicking him in every way possible, finding fault in everything, making him jump through hoops to earn forgiveness. Men don't cry easily, right? Well, he'd made me cry. Tonight, he'd learn what it felt like. Lucas only looked at me with soft, melting eyes. His smile curved slow and tender. All right, tonight I'll prove it. I promise, you'll be satisfied. The dorm was dark, but my heart was restless, thumping like a rabbit locked in my chest. I couldn't stop staring at the door, waiting, almost breathless, for the sincerity Lucas had promised me. The door creaked open, just a crack, and a tall figure slipped quietly inside. Moonlight spilled across his shoulders, silver and soft, and in that glow, I finally saw him clearly. On his head shimmered a pair of faintly glowing azure dragon horns. His hair, long and silver white, fell like a waterfall to his waist. In his hand he held a deep blue dragon pearl, and on his body, a strapless off-shoulder blue dress that looked as though it had been made for him. It was my favorite game character, brought to life. Lucas had cosplayed Shishi, the hero I admired most. In that moonlight, he was breathtaking. A vision too beautiful, too otherworldly, to belong to reality. My cheeks burned. My heartbeat went wild. At that moment, it felt like a little rabbit named Lucas had jumped straight into my chest, bouncing around with no intention of leaving. He stood there, smiling softly, looking right at me. And in that instant, I knew. I'd lost. Completely. This wasn't just good cosplay. This was perfection. From the costume to the hair to his every expression, he was flawless. I stumbled down from the bed, walked to him as if in a trance, and tucked a stray lock of hair behind his ear. My eyes lingered on him, unable to hide the fire that burned in them. Lucas's smile widened when he saw me staring, helplessly enthralled. He reached out, pulling me into his arms, and suddenly our breaths mingled, our chests pressed close. His lips brushed my ear as he whispered, low and tender, "Do you like it, Ryan? Do you like me like this?" I nipped lightly at his flushed ear and whispered back, breathless, "Of course I do. You're beautiful. I love it." He chuckled against my skin, a sound that was lazy and sensual, tickling me to my bones. "Then, can I take this to mean that you like me too?" My face went hot. I nodded before I could find words. Maybe it was because I knew it was Lucas, because deep down I had always trusted him, that I couldn't bring myself to reject his touch anymore. In the few hours he'd been gone from the dorm, I'd thought of so many things. And the truth was, I didn't want to leave his side. I liked the way he looked after me, how his world seemed to tilt whenever I moved. I liked that I was always reflected in his eyes. And if I was honest with myself, there had never been anyone quite like him in my life. I didn't want to hand him over to anyone else. If he was strange and I was strange, then maybe that just meant we were made for each other. Lucas, I forgive you. I don't just like dressing up. I like you. The fear he'd hidden so carefully melted away in an instant. His eyes shone with warmth, love surging like waves that refused to recede. He pressed me against the wall, bodies flushed together. And before I could speak again, his kiss fell on me like a storm. Wild, desperate, overflowing with everything he'd kept locked inside. I gasped, clinging to his horns, feeling my knees buckle as he devoured me with that impossible intensity. When the kiss finally broke, I was breathless, trembling, but alive in a way I'd never felt before. "Lucas," I whispered, looking up at him, when did you first start liking me?" He caught my restless hand, pressed a kiss to my fingertips, and smiled. "The first time I saw you in the dorm, you looked like a little squirrel, especially when you ate, cheeks puffed out. I couldn't take my eyes off you. I groaned in embarrassment, but he only laughed. You're unbelievable. You were staring at me eating? I pinched his cheeks in mock revenge, though his obedient pout only made him even cuter. And then realization struck me like lightning. The photos. The ones that had started all this. Some of them were from when I'd first entered school. I narrowed my eyes. Wait, you knew all along that I liked dressing up, didn't you? You sent those photos on purpose. Lucas pressed his forehead to mine, eyes filled with helpless affection. My Ryan, how are you so smart? Of course I am, I sniffed proudly. Then I tugged on his hair, refusing to let him off the hook. But you made me cry in fear, Lucas. Tell me, how are you going to make it up to me? He wrapped his arms around me and whispered, Then I'll give myself to you, forever. Is that enough? Not enough, I huffed. Every week, you'll dress up like this for me. He kissed me, laughing softly against my lips. Anything you want, my love. Lucas, I'm here. I'll always be here, Ryan. I love you, Lucas. I love you too. Later, I helped him remove his makeup, watching as his bare face emerged, clean and familiar, every feature clear. My heart melted into a puddle. I kissed him again, unable to hold back. Maybe it was the gentle night, maybe it was the moonlight, or maybe it was just us. In the narrow bed, our arms wound tightly around each other, bodies pressed close, lips meeting over and over. And in that moment, I realized something. Perhaps the greatest fortune in this world is to be the one person the moon chooses to shine on. That kind of devotion, that kind of love. How could I ever resist it? I was his most obedient prey, and he was the lover I'd always keep at the center of my heart, Lucas and Ryan, together forever. When Lucas Alaric finally posted the good news, our two kind-hearted roommates, those poor souls who had lost their place in the story the moment I moved out of the dorm, couldn't hold back their bittersweet tears. For years they had silently cheered from the sidelines, sacrificing their own comfort, even teaming up to rent a tiny apartment outside campus, all just to help their big boss pursue the boy he liked. Their contributions were immeasurable. 2 whole years had passed. Even the pigs back on their family farm had given birth 3 or 4 times already. But Lucas, at long last, Lucas had succeeded. At that moment, the two of them exchanged a meaningful look, slapped each other on the back, and made a bold decision. They were going to march back into the dorm, hand in hand, and shamelessly demand a victory feast from Lucas himself. Because after everything, wasn't it only fair to celebrate the happy ending they had worked so hard to bring about? The end.